Hi, my name is Corolla. I'm one of the blogging coordinators at CounselingWise, and I'm here to show you how to use the Google Doc that we send you every month to collaborate with us on topics and titles for your blog posts. So the first thing we're going to look at is the email. I have been sending out emails on the first of the month that look like this: CounselingWise, time to select your, and then it has the month in there that we're working on blog post topics. Once I do that, for the titles, I usually send out the one that says invitation to edit, which is a direct share from the Google Doc. Now, I'm not sure if my fellow blogging coordinators send this one on the first of the month or if they automatically share it directly. But whichever one you get, there will be a link in there to take you to the Google Doc that we're working in. Okay, so let's start with this one. We'll click on this, and in this invitation, I provided a link to the Google Doc. If you get an invitation email, it'll show a blue button that says open in Google Docs, and you click on that and you get to the same document. So let's click on the link right now. And so I've made up a document here just to show you how this all works. And let's let it load up. And you can see in the top left corner, it will show the month. I just chose October for the ease because that's what we've been working on with our clients this month. And just to remind you that in the information email, it says that we always work a month ahead of time because we have to have time to collaborate with you on topics and then give you suggested titles, and you select different ones so that we can hand them over to the writers by the end of the month so that they're ready to write the post for the next month. And so that's why we always work a month ahead. Okay, so at the top corner it says 10/2019. It says client name, which would be your name then, topics and titles. And so in the document itself too, it says client name, and then it will give your name and then your website URL there. Also underneath you see blogging plan. That would either show 2 or 4 posts per month depending on which blogging plan you have bought. I know we have some clients that have been with us for many years and that perhaps have other numbers in there. But in general, right now, it will either show 2 or 4 blog posts per month. Also, in the next line and in red, you will see the month again, just to remind you which month are we working on. And then there's a little bit of an information part under the topics, which is the first part that we're going to be looking at, the first part of the document right now. And so when we send this out on the first of the month, we would very much appreciate that you give us the topics for title generation for your next month's blog posts no later than the 5th of the month. We have to have suggested titles finished by a certain time, so we have a specific schedule. And for that reason, we need to stick with that schedule. And for that reason, we also have the policy to, when we do not receive topics from you, that we will select them for you and generate titles from that. And so we rather have you give us the topics because, of course, that's going to help us a whole lot more to know what you want. And so we would appreciate it every time you get these invitation emails or the email that says it's time to select your topics or provide your topics, that you would please look into them and handle that matter as soon as you can. So once you get this and you're in this Google document, just focus on the part that says topics. And down a little bit further down, it says topics for the month. And it gives topics 1, 2, 4 right now. So what you do, you click that, you take your cursor there and you see it blinking. It's like a Word document. And so all you have to do is click on it and then input which topics you want. So let's just do that. For example, we could put anxiety therapy. Perhaps we'll put teen counseling, And we could put trauma, PTSD perhaps, and relationship, coaching. That's just what I'm putting in there right now, just to show you how to do it. Okay, so pick something that you would like us to write about. Now, these are very general topics right now. Most of the time, perhaps it has something to do with your services, your specialty pages. And we can make titles from that because we will look at your website and kind of see what you talk about and what we perhaps have written before for you. But it's much easier to come up with really good titles and a really good direction, perhaps, when you give us a little bit more information already here. So say, for example, like for the teen counseling, you could write something like dealing with social media pressures, perhaps, okay? Or let's say we want to give some more on the relationship coaching, maybe difficulties of dating as a career focused professional without the extra O. Oh, without the extra E. Okay, so you see how you can give us more specific ideas here, and then we can be very much more specific with title suggestions. This is all you do when we ask you for topics. That's all we need. You can go over to the right side top where it says share in a blue button and share the document back with us. But if you don't know how to do that, that's fine. As long as you see at the very top, like in the middle, it says all changes saved in Drive. And I don't know if it will show my cursor here when I go up here in the video. So, but once it says all changes saved in Drive, then it's good. You don't need to do anything else because we're going to go in here anyways on the 5th and see if you put topics in there. Okay. What you can do if you want to inform us, you can go back to your email and you can just click reply and just put in there done. And that lets us know that you handled the matter. Okay. So now let's look at the inbox again. Once we make up the titles, we share them with you anywhere between the 5th and the 15th normally. So you probably, and for me, you will get this too, a direct link to the Google Doc, an invitation to edit, which will look like this, and it'll have your name in it, and it'll have the date again for which is for the month and the year. So again, you get this, you click on it, and then it will kind of look like this. And I generally write, here's just suggested titles for this and this month. Please look at them and indicate your selection. And then I try to remember to also tell my clients to, if you have specific input direction for any of the posts, to please enter it in the client input direction field. And I will show you that when we go into the Google Doc again. So with this invitation, like I said down here, it says open in Docs. So there's a blue button, you click on it and you go back in. And again, I've prepared a document to show you what would come back. Our fictional topics at the moment with anxiety, teen counseling, trauma, and relationships. So I made up some titles just to show how that works. So once you're in the Google Doc again, this time, instead of focusing on the first section with the topics, you scroll down. Let's see if it'll scroll for me. Yes, you scroll down where it says titles, because at that point we have entered titles down here. And as you can see under titles of the month, there's two suggested titles for each of the topics. All right. I also wanted to remind you that we asked you to pick the titles between the 16th and the 20th of the month, because by the 21st, we need to pass on the titles to the writers so that they can get started writing and we get your blog posts delivered on time the next month. So again, we would ask you to please, as soon as you get the invitation email, to look at this and make your selection, and that way we're going to be able to stay on schedule. If you don't make the selection, again, our policy is that we pick the titles then, which we rather not do. We rather have you tell us what you want. But because we have to stick with a specific schedule, that is our policy to do that. So please remember that. Now, when you go down here, you scroll to titles for the month, you look at your titles, and what you can do to indicate that you want a specific title is either you go and highlight it, okay? You can bold it. You can go up here into the toolbar and click on bold. This is just like a Word document, like I said. Or if you rather go up here and go highlight color and just highlight it, whatever color you want. You can also click highlight the one that you don't want and just click delete button on your computer and it's gone. Whichever way you indicate it, it helps us to see which one you want. That's all we need from you at that moment. So please make sure that you read through the suggested titles. So sorry, and make sure that you show us your selection that you really want. Now, there's also something, for example, well, let's say we picked a teen counseling up here, so I highlight that. But say, for example, like with this one, we gave you 6 signs of complex PTC and complex trauma. That's an informational post that shows that educates your reader, right? The second one, complex trauma, how you can support your loved one's recovery, is an instructional post that again educates, but it gives instruction on how a person could do something. So there are 2 different things. Well, say for example, you want to use this one first. You can highlight it or bold it, but you like this one too, but you want to use it in another month. So you can highlight it, you can cut it, and you can put it down here into the title bank. Down here it says, please put the titles you don't want to delete but want to use later here. So you can paste it here and you have it for a later month. So for example, a few months later, we ask you for topics again, and you think, oh, this would be a good one to use this time. You can just put it up here into the topics for the month section, and we see that, you took it from the title bank, and so we don't have to make any other suggested titles. It's already a title that you have approved. All right, so that's how that works. So like I said, you can do that, highlight it, bold it, whichever. You go through all 4 of them or all 2 of them and show us what you want this way. Now, the other thing was that I had asked for was for you to perhaps give specific input or direction for some of the blog posts. So for example, let's take our cursor down here. Underneath each suggestions for titles, the 2 suggestions, it says client input direction. This is the field where you can input specific directions. Some of our clients, for example, on this case, chronic anxiety often has its root in childhood trauma. So perhaps you want to give us specific directions on, okay, I want you to talk about different things, different traumas that children experience and how that affects them, why it gives them anxiety, chronic anxiety as adults. So you can put that in there. You can also put a link in there. You have an article that you really like that deals with this, or perhaps 2 articles, and you say, hey, I would like you to look at these articles and kind of combine the information that's in there, or there's specific parts of these articles that I like, and you can give us the link to those articles in there too. Anything that you want to help us to really understand the focus and the direction that you want us to take for this blog post. If you don't have any direction in mind or anything, our writers always do research, so they will pick the direction that they think this blog post should go in accordance with the title. But if you're very specific or particular about where you want to go with these blog posts, then it's good to put information in this client input and direction field. So that's just a reminder. And so this is pretty much how it works. Again, you don't have to share it. You can if you want to, as long as all changes have been saved in Drive. It's good, and we will look at it on the 21st of the month to see which titles you have picked. You can send us an email again, and that works very well with this invitation too. You can just click on reply down here and it will send us an email, and you can just say done or have selected whatever you want to tell us, and that helps us to know too that you already looked at it. Okay, again, just like with the topics, if you as I mentioned before, if you don't pick them by the 21st, we will have to make the selection for you. But we would much rather you make the selection. And so we thank you so very much for looking at these invitations, these emails that we send you twice a month, as soon as you can, and make your selection, make your input, and that way we can keep with the schedule. We don't have to take actions for you, and we have a much better collaboration. So thank you so very much for looking at this video and following our directions. And if you have any questions about this, please ask your blogging coordinator, because we're happy to help you with anything that's still unclear. Thank you so much.